Welcome to People Think About It, hosted by Lamar Clark and Audrey Kearney, the podcast where we dive deep into the topics that make you stop and think. From business and relationships to health, money, family, sports, entertainment, and even politics. We drop new episodes every Wednesday at 8 p.m., so make sure you tune in. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to share it with your friends. Let's make people think about it.
Hey, welcome to People Think About It. We thank you guys for listening again once on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. You can hear a new episode. We're going to get into a 3-part series about leaving corporate America, starting your own business, and adding technology to your business. So we're going to talk about you guys, give you a little information on how we did it, and hopefully we can get you to do your transformation if that's what you're deciding to do, to go into your own business. So me and Miss Audrey is going to give you guys a little bit of information, talk about leaving corporate America and going into entrepreneurship. So let's start this conversation off. So give us a little idea what happened to you and made you go into entrepreneurship.
Well, thanks again for everybody for listening to us today and spending some time here. I was working in corporate America. I was working at Verizon. That was my first. I was working at Verizon in a job that I absolutely hated. And I remember one day my brother, I went to work and I couldn't come out the bathroom. I was in there crying my eyes out because I was so miserable at that job. And they called my brother. So my brother was funny because I think he thought I was suicidal. So he comes to the job to get me. And at that time, he lived in East Orange. I was working in Florence Park, which was kind of far. And he came to get me. And all the way home, now mind you, my daughter is older than all his kids. He's like, my kids love you so much. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. I hate this job. But that was my first thought at leaving. And then I did leave. I left corporate America, but I went into corporate America. So I left Verizon and went into pharmaceutical and worked at Novartis Pharmaceutical for about 6 months. But I was filling in for one of my friends. And while I was there, I had this idea for this doll. And she was on maternity leave, so I filled in for her for 6 months while she was out with the baby. And I realized, this is not going to be good for me. And when she came back, this was funny. When she came back, I had the opportunity to stay. And she loved that job. And she, as a matter of fact, she had been there for 27 years. They laid her off this year in April, which is terrible. But when she came back to work, Lamar, they asked me, did I want to stay? Right. And I went through a formal interview. And when I got to the interviewer, the lady asked me, did I want to keep the job? And she asked me, where did I see myself in 5 years? And I said, running my own business. And my friend said, well, why did you say that? I said, because that's where I see myself. Like, I don't see myself here doing this job for 5 years. But my friend stayed there for 27 years. And she just got laid off. She lost a job in April. So that was that was 1999. In 2000, the end of 1999, I launched a doll company. No, June 1999, I launched my doll company, and I quit everything. I quit all my jobs. Now, I don't tell anybody to do that because that was very stressful. I wouldn't tell you to quit your job. I would say if you're going to do that, if you plan on leaving corporate America, have a backup plan. Have some money stashed away because it was very rough. And at that time, I was a single parent, so I struggled a lot, but I had a good support system. My mom was there, and my brother, and one of my uncles who has also gone, passed on with my mom. So
and I think that's one of the things when you're leaving corporate America and having the idea to open your own business is that sometimes we don't plan for it. And you really have to strategize. You really got to know what the cost of things are going to be. Your rent, your electric. If you are like with me, when I left corporate America, I used to work for an equipment company, and I decided to leave corporate America. I always had an entrepreneur type mind. I always wanted to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And like whenever I had a job or a corporate job, my concept and idea wasn't to go in there and look for long term. I'm going there and see how they make this place run. Mm-hmm. Because I figured, well, if they can make it run, I can make it run. So sometimes they used to catch me looking at stuff I didn't supposed to be looking at, but I was always trying to figure out how a person ran a business, what they had to do to keep it going and stuff like that. So I did that. And when I walked away, my first business was a balloon gift shop, a woman clothing store. It was a woman's clothing store with a balloon gift shop in it. And
what a combination.
I had a friend of mine that had a hair salon. So I really couldn't afford a brick and mortar place at that. So she had a nice sized room inside the hair salon. So I rented that room from her and turned it to a woman's clothing boutique. And because I'm like, what a better place to have this right inside the salon. And you know, that was my first introduction to business on my own.
Yeah.
But like you say, it was stressful because once you go into business, it's all on you.
It's all on you.
It's all on you. The decision makings you make are on you.
Yeah.
And one thing I did learn when I was in the clothing business, I met this guy. He had been in the clothing business for 30-something years. And I used to go back and forth to New York. I was beating the streets. And it was a shame because people that I ran into that I knew was in the club, they wouldn't tell me anything. And this guy that I ran into, I was talking to him one day, and he was like, look, I'm going to share some information with you, but I'm not going to share 30 years of information. I'm going to tell you what doors to go knock on.
Let me ask you this. Were some of them doors on 26th Street?
There was in Manhattan, Fashion Avenue, and stuff like
26th
that.
26th Street, 28th Street, yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was in New York beating the streets, you know, and the funny thing about it, even when, you know, because most people that open a business, they want to stick their chest out, make people out there. Yeah. I opened a business, never wanted to be the front guy.
Yeah.
So I had my sister running the boutique because I didn't want to seem like the front guy. You know, I come in there and act like I was a worker. Mm-hmm. So, you know, but that helped me out a lot because by me being in a salon, once them ladies start finding out I was the owner, you know, can you give me a deal? Can you give me a break? And I'm like, first thing, I'm like, go to Macy's and ask them for it. I'm a small business, you know, but that's our people. You know, we always want a break or a discount. Yeah. You know, and it's tough because I think with small business, we have to support one another. Yeah. You know, but that's stepping out of corporate into your own thing is really a frightening thing because you get to the point you're always doubting yourself. Should I have done that? Because like you said, you know what? I still got bills to pay. I got a home. I got children to raise. Did I make the right move? And
then you got to think about this too. Like before you decide to take that leap, you got to think about this, right? There is no team. If you're in anywhere where you manage a team of people, you don't have a team. There is no budget. Right. Unless you create your own budget. Because a lot of times in corporate America, you got a team, you got a budget, you know, and when you leave that job, you go home and you relax. As an entrepreneur, that doesn't happen.
It never happens.
That doesn't happen. You don't relax. You know, and I would love to. I talked to my cousin earlier today, and we lost someone. We lost her son lost his dad. And she was like, yeah, I know you were going to call me. I know you were busy. I was busy because, you know, I don't really get a chance to relax as much as I want to. I relax a lot better now, but not like I used to. So you have to, there are a lot of things you have to think about before you make that leap, right? You need to make sure you have a good support system. Right. You know, I had the best. My mom and my brother and my uncle, the best support system. Then my husband came along. And it was funny because I said to him when he first came along, I said, you know, he was supposed to be an investor in the business. He came right at the very beginning. And I said to him, I don't know if you want to date me because I got bad credit. I'm a single parent. I ain't got no money in the bank. And but I needed to lay that out for him. I don't like doing the laundry. I hate grocery shopping. You know, I don't like cooking. Like, I laid it all out. And he was like, I'm good with that. And he really was good with that. And he has been right by my side for 23 years. As a matter of fact, he and I are doing a joint venture right now, which I'm excited about that. But you have to have that good support system because, you know, when times are tough and you're out there trying to figure it out by yourself, if you don't have the people to lean on, you're going to suffer even more. I remember I quit my jobs, right? Quit corporate, got a paper route at 3:00 in the morning in West Orange. I lived in West Orange, which is like considered the suburbs in New Jersey. But I would leave my home with my husband because he would get off at 11 o'clock. He would go to sleep for a couple of hours. And 2 o'clock in the morning, we'd go to the paper pickup place. And he would go with me, pick up the newspaper, drive to Livingston. He shine the flashlight, and I throw the paper. Right. Because I had to have some money coming in. He was making good money, but I still wanted some money on my own because he was my boyfriend. He wasn't my husband then. So we did that every day. I remember doing a show, you know, in North Carolina, and we spent the whole night, Lamar, making doll clothes with a hot glue gun and hot glue. But he was my right hand. He was my ride or die, and he still is to this day. So you got to have a good support system, and you need to, before you take that leap, you need to make sure that whatever it is you're going to do, you're not chasing money. Because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work like that. Chasing money doesn't work. You need to really be passionate about something.
Exactly.
Something that you can focus on.
And that's one thing I usually share with people when you go into business. Make it sure it's your passion.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's something your passion, you'll do it whether you're making money or not.
Absolutely. But
like you said, when once you take that leap into entrepreneurship and you open that business, you're the tax person. You're the stock person. You're the inventory person. You're the customer service. You're the manager. You're everything that you did in corporate. Now it all falls on you.
Listen, I used to sell dolls, right? I had a website. I built the website, but the orders would come in on the fax machine, which was in my bedroom. So at night.
So that shows you how old your business was.
That's right.
Because people don't even really use fax machines anymore.
Faxes, the orders would come in from the fax machine, and it would be in the middle of the night. We hit the fax machine. Now, normally you get pissed off about that, but we knew that was an order. We was like, oh God, our order came, but that was coming in on the fax machine. So it's a lot different now. We're gonna talk about that next week, but it's a lot different now because the opportunities are so many of them. They're just out there all over the place. But now, thinking about your experience in corporate America, take that and turn it into money, because if you've been in corporate America for any amount of time, that's knowledge that a lot of people don't have. My husband and I was talking about, I've been talking about this for a couple of years, but now we can kind of see how it's going to work. He works in pharmaceutical.
Right.
He's been working in pharmaceutical since he was 18 years old, so that's 40 years because he's 58. He started with his mom. His mom got him into that space, and he's never left it. He's never done anything else but that, pretty much. I think he had like a job at a pharmacy, something doing like behind the counter. But he and I talked about turning that knowledge that he has into a business to train other people to get into that industry, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. And so I said to him, listen, they call you for everything. You need to start making some side money with that wisdom that you have, with that knowledge, that 40 years worth of knowledge in an industry that's not overly saturated, because you can't find enough good workers in the space. How do I know that? Because they're always hiring at his job, and people come in, they get a little bit of knowledge, and then they leave because they want to go make more money. So you are in corporate America. There's something that you can share with somebody. I have a friend, and she's an attorney. Right. Believe it or not, Lamar, she's still an attorney, but she had a profile on Fiverr. Right? She used to be an attorney for the government. She had a profile on Fiverr where you could send her your resume for $125, and she'll critique it for you. That's all she did. So you can get a GS-14 job.
That sounds like something my wife does. My wife, branches off into that resume business and everything. And that's another thing. When you in corporate America, and like Audrey said in the beginning, we're not saying, hey, you got this bright idea, go jump in the water. No, we're saying walk to the edge and touch your toes, see if it's for you, But maybe if it's something that you decide you want to do, leaving corporate America, maybe you test the water. Yeah. You do it part-time. You do it on the side. Maybe you do it on the weekends. Yeah. You make it a weekend event. But you have to be willing to invest time.
Yes, time and money.
Time, money, and patience.
And patience.
Because we live in a society where it's get rich quick. Everybody looking for that get rich quick. Mm-hmm. And to understand real business, there's no get rich quick.
No.
There's no get rich quick.
If there were, I would have found it.
We both would have found it by now. And, I read this book called Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
And the guy, as I read the book, he said, once if you fail at one thing, keep trying another thing. Eventually, you'll find your niche.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you may jump out there into business and think, hey, this is the business I want to do. I know I'm good at this and everything. And, once you get beyond family and friends, now it becomes real business.
Yes.
Because the family and friends will support you.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, I'll say the close family and friends will support. But then it gets to the point, once you go through your family, once you go through your friends, then you got to start doing real business. Because now you got to start drawing in people that don't even know you.
I can tell you, for me, there are people that I thought were my close family and friends when I launched that first business. And I remember going to them saying, hey, just need you to pre-purchase a doll for $59. people that I had bought Christmas stuff for their children, and got up out of my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning to go make sure they got gas because they ran out because they were irresponsible, did not and have not supported me over the last 27, 28 years I've been doing, has never, ever, ever supported me. And these were the people that I would do anything for. Not now. I won't do it now. But I would have done that for. And I had done it before. So, that's another thing. Like, before you leave corporate America, especially if you like a high-ranking corporate person, you're making good money, you go to the best restaurants, and you the one picking up the tab, and you flossing. And trust me, entrepreneur is sexy when you get to that point. Until you get to that point, it's not sexy. Until you get to that point where you're making the same kind of money you're making in corporate America and you're not worried about the bottom line and the margins, it ain't sexy. And so when you out there flossing right now, because in 15 days you're gonna get another paycheck, right? You can splurge right now because in 15 days you're gonna get another paycheck, or the first and the 15th or the second and whatever. That's not how this go. And so when you start hanging out with your friends and you say, yeah, I can't be spending all this money right now because my bottom line says no, they're not going to understand that. No. I got a friend right now, she's trying to turn a free business into a paid business, and she's struggling. Why? Because she laid out the red carpet, right? When it was free, everybody came. She tried to flip it and charge $20, and they're like having a fit. And I said to her, that's because you laid it out free. Right. I mean, laid it out. Like, wasn't just like a little thing. It was like laid out every month. We're going to go, we're going to eat, we're going to do. Now she wants to charge. They don't want to pay her. So you got to keep all that stuff in mind when you're thinking about leaving corporate America. You got to make sure that, you have your reserves in place. You got to make sure you have a good support system in place. You got to make sure that you're not chasing money, that you really are chasing the dream. Right. Because just like Lamar said earlier, if you don't get up in the morning and want to do this thing, it's not the right thing for you. You can't go to. I remember going to network marketing and going to this meeting, and the guy was standing on a chair. He was yeah, right. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do. And I go in there and I sat there for a while. And I'm like, yeah. By week number 2, I was like, I hate this.
Right. And another thing, I share this with people because when I come at people and I tell them about entrepreneurship and stuff. It's not sexy. It's not sexy at all. And the reason I say that it's not sexy at all, because you have people that are entrepreneurs, and they're like, I'm the boss. You're not a boss. You really are high-class employee of yourself.
True. Because
a boss, unless you got people working for you and managing them, being able to pay them, being able to keep them, you're not a boss.
Right.
You're a high-class employee.
You're an entrepreneur.
That you decided to run your own business.
And there's a difference.
And truly there's a difference between a boss and being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And we want people to understand that. So we're really trying to emphasize, if this is your dream to open up a business, no matter what that business may be, because you sometimes you can take something that you may not think is the brightest idea and it becomes a successful business. You can take something that you think, man, this thing gonna blow up, and it flop. Yep. You never know, because one thing about entrepreneurship, it's like I said, you're everything to that business.
Yes.
If you have something that involves sales, you're the salesperson.
Yeah.
If you have something that involves the products and storing product, you're the stock person. Yeah. You are everything to that business.
Your head is so heavy from wearing all them hats, it's leaning to one side.
And you still have to go home and deal with family.
Yes.
You still have to go home and deal with bills, because the bills don't stop.
That don't stop.
So you have to find a way that you sit back and understand what I'm getting myself involved in.
When I first started, my husband and I were dating, right? We weren't married yet. We were still dating. And his best friend called me one day, and I was like, what's up? He's like, yeah, he's upset. And I'm like, so my husband is not a talker. Like, even if he's upset, I said, what is he upset about? And he was like, because y'all don't spend enough time together, right? So I wrote an article, because that was a part of my marketing. I wrote an article saying my business almost killed my relationship, and it did. And that article got picked up by Tom Joyner, and they interviewed me for his website. Back then, his company was called Reach Media. So Tom Joyner's producer interviewed me, put it on the website and all that stuff, because the relationship really did almost kill the business really did almost kill my relationship. But what I had to get my husband to understand was, listen, this is what I told you from day one. This is who I am. When they put me in the box, this is who I'll be.
Right.
I said that from day one. And so, but then I also said, you know what, let me make time. let me just back down for a minute and make time. So you have to make time for your significant other. Have to make time for your kids.
I wanted to touch on that. I wanted to touch on that because, you know, if you're single and you go into entrepreneurship, it's nobody but you.
Nobody but you.
If you're married or in a relationship, and for the most part, if that person that you're dealing with has a corporate job and they're successful at that, they kind of don't understand the entrepreneur. They might not understand why I'm up till 12 o'clock at night. You know, it might be, honey, come go to bed. Or they might not understand, hey, I can't go to this right now. Hey, let me go do this. They might not understand that.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to get somebody that's, I would say kind of like-minded, or they understand business,
or they grow to understand. I think for me, when my husband went on the road with me, because I did a lot of shows. When he went on the road with me, he actually saw like what the life looked like, because we were in hotels every weekend. We were traveling, and he would work Monday through Friday. We would leave Friday night, and then I'm on the road somewhere doing a show like every weekend for like 9 months. We did that, and he did it with me. He got a chance to actually see like this is my life, you know, and so. You either got to be okay with that or not. Well, he was okay with it, because then he asked me to marry him for real.
Right.
So he became okay with that, but he actually got a chance to see, like, okay, so we got a show. We only got one set of dolls. We need some clothes. We went to the fabric store. We buy fabric. We do all this. Stay up all night, Lamar, making doll clothes. And what's crazy, hot glue gun, and those dolls sold the best. It was a crazy thing, but he got a chance to actually see that. You know, that's another thing. We've got kids. I want to touch on that. My daughter and I have this conversation. We have it a lot more often now, but I think she actually hated me when I was doing business, and I didn't know it.
Right.
And so it wasn't until probably about 2 years ago she did some kind of experiment, and she's like, well, you know, you didn't listen to me. And I'm like, what do you mean? You know, but I remember when she was in third grade, I remember the teacher calling me and said, you know, she's doing bad. And I'm like, why? And so she's like, well, Miss Bell, she said you're always working. And I remember going to Novartis that day, which I was still there, and crying my eyes out. And my friend like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I'm a terrible mother, you know. The baby said I'm like bad. And so I cried all day long. But what happened was I had to pivot. So what I started doing, because I was up all night. So I would go to work. I would take her to school in the morning. I would come back and I would work all until she got out of school. When she came home from school, I would stop my work. She had to go to bed at 8 o'clock. I would start all over again and work till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, go drop my papers off, go to sleep till like 7, wake up and start all over again. But I had to make the adjustments for her, and she still said, even after I made the adjustment, I still didn't show her enough time. So you got to make time for the family. You got to be able to. You also got to be willing to lose some friends.
Yeah, because I like when I had the balloon gift shop. I had my children working in that business. Mm-hmm. And I guess they kind of liked it because it was dealing with balloons, you know. But I had to look at it from a business standpoint. They looked at it as from fun. And like I said, when I had the women's clothing boutique, well, my sister would run that, and then I had a friend that would run it. You know, so like I said, I was never the face. And that's really not important. You know, if you open up a business, it's not that important for you to be the face, because you're opening that business to make money, right? And if you got to and there's a lot of people to do it. We can talk about like Ciroc. Puffy was just the face for Ciroc. Ciroc is owned by another, other corporate company. You know, so sometimes it's just like you could take the Darden Corporation. They Bahama Breeze, Red Lobster, and I forgot what other restaurant they had, but who knows about the Darden company? Nobody, but you know Red Lobster,
right?
You know, Bahama Breeze. So the thing is that don't get so tied up in being the so-called facial brand of your business.
Yeah.
You know, some people come up with logos and let the logo be the brand.
Let me say this, because you touched on something. Now, you say that you don't want to be the face, but there are some people that's all they want.
Right.
They want a title.
Right.
They want to be the brand, and that's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but then you have to balance it out. Do you want to be the face and have a title, or do you want to make money?
Right.
Because, I mean, you can have both now.
You
can have both, but I just tell you, you put a lot of pressure on yourself when you get out there because you lose your sight when it's not about you making money.
Yep.
And if you're taking all your marketing dollars and putting it so everybody see my face, well, you're using your marketing dollars the wrong way.
Let me tell you something. There are people, and I know some personally, and I have sat in rooms with them, and I'm like, that's all they care about. The bottom line, not a thought, not a question. It's all about me. And I'm looking at that like, man, you're going to fail. I'm saying this to myself because not everybody's open to critiquing. So I don't say anything. I'm looking at like, they're going to fail.
Right. Because to me, like I said, and this is the thing about entrepreneurship, the biggest thing I realize is that if you have that budget for marketing dollars, that's going to help you more than anything.
Yeah.
That's going to help you market you, your product, your services, whatever you decided you do. It's going to help you. You know, it's just like we can take the swoosh from Nike.
Yeah.
Oh, if that man puts that swoosh anywhere, we know that it's Nike.
That's that branding. That's that good branding.
In the same tone, I'm telling you that nobody can. You never seen that guy's face. If he was standing beside the swoosh, you would never know he was the guy that owned it.
Would never know. And the only way I even knew who he was is when I saw the movie.
Right.
That was a good movie.
You know, so you have to decide when you go into business and when you go into this entrepreneurship. The biggest thing is, how am I going to spend my marketing dollars? Because everybody's going to come at you. I remember one time when I had the women's clothing boutique. I knew the people at the radio station. You know, I mean, I knew all of them. They knew me and everything. But their whole concept, they're trying to sell me, you know, radio time. Mm-hmm. So the guy, I never forget this day he came in. He's like, man, you know, we have over 1 million. We have over 1 million listeners. And if you pay this amount and this, that, and that, we can run your commercial, this and that, and that. I said, well, where's the guarantee? He says, well, there's no guarantee, but we're going to run the commercial, this, and that. So to me, that wasn't a good marketing strategy because you're telling me you got over 1 million listeners, but you're not guaranteeing me nothing. But you're taking my marketing dollars. So I turned around and said to him, I tell you what, I'll spend money with you guys if you can guarantee me at least 1% of that million. If I got 1% of that million, I would have a successful business.
Well, let me say this. From being on the flip side of marketing. There are no guarantees.
Well, I mean, I know there's no guarantees, but it's saying it from the tone of when I'm making a decision, I got to make a wise decision because maybe I take that money and put it in a magazine. Maybe I take that and not put it on radio because, you know, like your drive time slots cost you a lot of money.
So let me say this. So, and you guys need to listen to this real hard. The one thing that media does is get you exposure. It does not guarantee sales. And I've been written up. I've been on television. I've been everywhere, right? I can't point to one sale, and I didn't pay for any of that. That was all earned media, right? Newsletters, magazines, television. I remember being on the John Walsh show. Remember John Walsh? That was the man, his son died. His name was Adam. Remember that guy? The one who used to do the show. He was on TV like 11 o'clock in the daytime. I'm on his show, national show. People seeing me in Maine all the way down to Albany, Georgia. I can't contribute that to one sale. What I can tell you is that I got on that show because I had a radio show, and the women that was on the show told them to call me, and I was on the show with them.
Right.
I can't contribute one sale to that, but what that does do is create brand awareness. People saw it. Now, did people buy? I don't know because it was through the website. I've been in magazines. Georgette and I were on a show on Fox News out in Dallas.
Right.
Fox TV. Now that we saw, I can tell you we saw some sales from that. Crashed the website. Had all these sales come in through the website, crashed the website. We couldn't even get the dollars back in time. Had to refund all that money. That we saw. So I can tell you that was the one time I could put my finger on and say we saw sales.
And when you said that crashed the website, what reminded me? And I tell all entrepreneurs, this is the best show in the world to listen to is Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Oh my gracious! In Shark Tank, there's so many people with creative ideas.
Yeah.
But you know what gets most of them not a deal is they don't know their numbers.
Yeah.
They don't know
the
what
market.
kind of inventory. And you know, sometimes you can buy too much inventory.
Yeah.
Like some people will come on the show like, you know, saying, well, I made $600,000, but I don't have enough inventory. Then you got people, I made $600,000 and we got too much inventory, you know? So being an entrepreneur, you got to learn to balance out things, and because that is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Of being an entrepreneur is balancing out your life financially, and balancing out your life in business.
Yeah.
Because all three of them, you know, like you said, hey, I got to have some time for my children, my husband, or my wife, or have you. You know what? I got to have time to balance out my finance, because finance helped me take care of my family. I got to have time to balance out my finance, because finance keeps my business running.
Yeah.
So you become all of that.
Yeah.
And that's when the pressure starts.
Yeah. Don't think it's sexy now, because it ain't all that. Now, it may be sexy when you get to a certain level, but until you get to that level, it ain't sexy. And so you see these people walk around, I'm an entrepreneur. Do you know how many times I want to throw in the towel and throw my hands up and say, I'm done with this? So many times. But then I wake up in the morning, it's like, nah, this is why I started. Right? I started because I like being my own boss. I started because I like my freedom. Right? Yes, do I have a lot of freedom? I do, but I don't. Because I spend most of my waking hour working in my business.
Most entrepreneurs do. They think hey, I'm going to cut out this 8, but then you might have to go invest 23 into yourself.
My husband said to me one night, it was about 2 weeks ago, I was in the bed, Lamar. It was about 11:30. I'm in the bed, right? Thought about something. Got out the bed, and this is another bad thing when your office is at your house. Got out the bed, went into the office, and turned on the computer. My uncle was coming out the room. He's like, "You going back to work?" I was like, "Yeah, I forgot something." So it's like little things like that. You're gonna have to learn how to separate, create some boundaries for yourself. And one last thing before we go is creating boundaries.
Right.
People think that because you work for yourself, you have all this free time to do the stuff and I want to say something else, but it's a family show. You got all the time in the world to do the stuff they want you to do.
Right.
Nah, that's not how that works. You can't just call me anytime because you think I'm home doing nothing. I'm not home doing nothing.
Right, because I tell people all the time, this is a business to me.
Yes.
Okay? You may look at it as free time or, you're the owner, you can leave whenever you want. No, I can't.
Right.
It's a business. Yeah. I'm running a business.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, just like you want me to respect that you at work, I'm at work.
Yes, but people won't. So you got to set those boundaries.
Right. And, so we're gonna keep this going. And like I said, it's going to be a 3-part series on, branching out. And we're going to get you there. And we're going to get you there. And we hope you guys keep staying tuned in to it. Yeah.
And we didn't share all this with you guys to deter you from following your dream. We just want you to have a realistic expectation of what to expect when you move forward, because this is a real thing, and we don't want you to jump out there and then when you get out there start trying to flounder because you can't really swim. So we're not trying to deter you. We just being real open and honest, because we want you to think about it before you be about it.
And that's why we got you to hear people think about it. That's all we want you to do is think. It's the greatest show in the world. People think about it. And we're going to end it and go into our next session. So be prepared to listen next Wednesday at 8 p.m. And we're going to talk about, leaving corporate. We talked about leaving corporate and going to entrepreneurship. And now the part 2 is going to be, once you're into entrepreneurship, what to expect.
Yes.
And then in part 3, like I said, adding that technology, because we know that the world today is all about technology. So we want to thank you guys for listening to People Think About It. And we're going to leave with a word from Audrey on the show.
Listen, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to, whether it's Spotify podcast, whether you listen to iHeart, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to the show, subscribe to the show and also share it with your friends. Thank you again. We'll talk to you again soon.
And hit that subscribe button. And we thank you once again for listening to People Think About It.